Jimmy, man, welcome back. I appreciate you being here. How's things going?
Hey man, things are going good. We in camp. We ready to fight. Ready to drop some fight news. Excited about the matchup and ready to start off 2025 with a bang.
Yeah, man, I'm so happy to hear that you finally got some fight news. I'm glad that you got a contract signed. So, can you kind of give us a little tidbit about what's on the agenda and when can we see you back in there?
Yeah, man. What's kind of cool about this fight, like everybody always asks, like coming up, like who's somebody you would like to fight? Uh, like I watched obviously Demetrius Johnson a lot. Like Demetrius Johnson would be like a dream fight for me. I would love that fight. I got to watch him growing up. He was champ. He fought Dominic Cruz, fought all these guys at 35, became our 25-pound champ, grew up the world. Well, Demetrius Johnson retired, and then we got guys like Pantoja, but Pantoja started coming up around the same time as I did, but he just made bigger waves quicker than I did. So Pantoja is not like somebody that I've watched for so long and was like, oh man, it'd be cool to fight this guy. But there is another guy, and there was a little show called Caged over 10 years ago. And on that show called Caged, they had a lot of these guys from Louisiana that fought. And when I watched this show, I was like, man, ain't none of these guys going to make it to the UFC. There was only two fighters I thought that might make it. And one was Tony Kelly, which here lately didn't do too great in the UFC, but he did make it to the UFC, made waves. And then the other one was Matt Schnell. And Matt Schnell's always been a 25er. Me and Matt Schnell went to the Ultimate Fighter together, season 18. When Matt Schnell went to the Ultimate Fighter, he was 2-1 as a professional. And it stated on the Ultimate Fighter that you had to have 3 wins or more. And Matt blew up when they told him that he wasn't going to be part of the Ultimate Fighter. He was like, I have more followers on social media than everybody, and that's what they thought Ultimate Fighter was more about your fan base, how big of a name you were. And I think that's why Matt thought he was going to make the Ultimate Fighter. Long story short, Matt didn't make the Ultimate Fighter. He did make it to the UFC. He made it to the top 10 in the UFC before going on a few fight losing streak. And now the UFC gave me an opportunity to fight somebody I've been watching growing up. And so April 26th, I will be making my, let's say, United States soil debut with actual fans. I don't consider the Apex with fans. I mean, less than 300 people. If they're full, when I fought Charles Johnson, we had like 7 people in the crowd because we fought at 12 o'clock. So I'm out of the Apex. I'm on U.S. soil, Kansas City, Missouri versus Matt Schnell. Hoping I make that main card. They've been announcing fights. Word is that I'm hearing Kamar Usman versus Buckley's going to be the main event. Maybe I can talk that into existence right there. I think that'd be a great main event. We have some fights on that card already. There's 3 main cards that have been booked, and then some prelims. Mine hasn't been linked yet, so it's going to be linked this week. Whether it's me, Matt, or somebody dropping the news, doesn't matter. I feel confident that Matt signed the contract. I've signed the contract. And I think the UFC is going to be excited about the publicity we get for this fight. And I live 4 hours away from Kansas City, Missouri. So, the fans are coming. The sponsors are coming. I'm going to have a big crowd. I know Matt's got a big following. This is going to be Matt's 15th UFC fight and my 6th UFC fight. That excites me a lot, too, to have somebody that's had that many fights in the UFC, somebody that was ranked. I mean, this guy has a loss to Pantoja before Pantoja was the champ. So now I get the chance to fight somebody like that. And he's got to win, or he just lost to Cody Durden, which everybody knows I flying triangle to Cody Durden. And I honestly believe I would do it again. So whether I flying triangled or submitted him, I own Cody Durden, and I don't think he can defend my jiu-jitsu no matter what. He could try to keep the fight standing as long as he wants, but just like in the fight, I will find a way to get the choke and submit him. And that's going to be no different against Matt. Matt's got really good boxing. Like I said, I've watched him for years, and nothing's going to change. My game plan's always the same, and that's to find the finish. And I plan on going to war with Matt in front of 15,000 people in Kansas City, Missouri, and just put me on the UFC main card. Let's go. Let's go, UFC. I want to kick off the main card, and I promise you it'll be fireworks. I kicked off UFC 297 Sean Strickland versus DDP, and biggest comeback in flyweight history. Third person in UFC history to hit the flying triangle. Most submission attempts on the Tuesday Night Contender. Second fastest win in LFA history. Ever since I made my run to the UFC, I'm sitting here, I'm breaking records, I'm entertaining. And Nate Maness was the only guy that wasn't able to finish me. I'm proving that my skills are developing in all aspects. And come April 26th, I'm going to put it all together. I'm going to get back in that win column, and I'm going to make a run at that flyweight title.
Man, this is very exciting news because I feel like both of you guys are like kill or be killed type of fighters. You're always going to be, putting on a fight for the fans in a big way. You're always going to, look for the finish. He's always going to look for the finish, and you guys just lay it all out there. And when it comes to this fight, this was the only like person that was kind of offered to you, and you were just like, let's go. It doesn't really matter.
Oh yeah, my manager offered, and I told her just to say yes. It doesn't matter date, who, or anything. And at 125, I believe I'm the best. I can strangle all these 125ers. It's just making sure I put myself in the position to be able to strangle these guys. And that's what we've been working on since the last 8 months I've been out. I've had a knee injury, but with that knee injury, I was able to work on certain things as I was able to get back into training. They did offer me a fight January 11th. I felt like it was too soon. And now we got April 26th on USA soil in front of fans. And that just excites the hell out of me. When I went to Canada, got to fight up there. That was great. Now I get to fight here on US soil, only 4 hours away. And I'm going to have family, friends, my kids. Like it's just a whole different kind of excitement to be able to get this experience. This is everything I ever worked for and wanted when I was 15 years old, and I watched The Ultimate Fighter in 2005, and they walked out. That's when I decided that's when I wanted to be a UFC fighter. When I watched Stephen Bonner and Forrest Griffin walk out in front of all those fans to fight for that contract, I was like, that's what I'm meant to do right there. I would have never guessed in 2005 when I made it to the UFC in 2020, I would have did it with no fans. And there's no way anybody could have ever predicted that. So for that to be my first experience, and then I retire, I come back from retirement. Then we got the Apex, never really got to experience the fans. We go to Toronto, Canada in front of 17,000 people. And I showed the people what I was made of. I started out slow. Took a beating, but never gave up. In second round, found that submission, got the new UFC contract. Really would have liked to get the bonus on that one, but if I had to choose between a bonus and a new contract, we'll take that new contract. And a little disappointed in my performance versus Nate Maness, or Maness, however you say his name. And I really wish I could have pushed the pace more. I do think the knee injury slowed me down a little bit, and come April 26th, it's balls to the walls. And like you said, Matt's on a couple fight losing streak. I'm 2-3 in the UFC. 2-4 does not set well with me. I'm pretty sure it's not going to set well with the UFC. So the way I look at this fight is I feel like the loser's going to get cut. If Matt, a lot of people thought he retired last fight. Maybe he wants to come back for one more, get a win, then retire. Maybe get a win, fight some more. I don't know, but I know I'm not done. I know I want to win this fight. I'll have 2 more fights on my contract after that. Want to go 3-0 in 2025, be ranked in 2026, and then make a run at that that UFC 125 title.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's very surprising, like you said. We already thought, he retired. So I'm assuming going into this fight now, you're like, damn, I'm gonna make sure you're really retired after this fight, right?
Oh, most definitely, because we all know I retired Johnny Bedford from MMA and sent him over to bare knuckle. A lot of these fighters, when they do lose, they go to bare knuckle. Now, I did not beat Nate Maness, but where's he at? Bare knuckle. So with Matt Schnell, I don't take anything from him, but I do feel like I want this more. Matt's made a really, really good run in the UFC. I'm not saying he can't make another one, but I do think I can stop him from making another one and start my run. And that's the plan. And I just want to go out there and perform, show the UFC really how good I am. April, fight in April, and then stay ready for something. August would be great. And then December before the end of the year would be amazing. So if everything falls into place, that's what I would like. But first things first is going out there April 26th and taking care of business.
Yeah, I mean, now you're going to be in front of all your friends and family and thousands of other fans. I know you're kind of 2 months away, but do you kind of have a gist of what maybe walkout song you're going to have for this huge event?
We've talked about it. Yeah. Me and my old lady have been looking through some songs. Usually one of my best friends picks my songs. Scatman John is my favorite one to come out to. I just like moving to it. But here lately, when you get to come out to fans, sometimes you want to come out to some music that gets the fans going. So I think we got something. Like I said, when I came out in Toronto, Canada, a lot of people didn't put it together, but I came out to started from the bottom from Drake. Well, Drake was there at the event, so that was one reason I wanted to have it. And then if you watch the music video to start it at the bottom, it starts on the soccer field in Toronto, Canada. So if people put that together, that was the reason I came out to it. And then when I fought Nate Maness, the reason I came out to Lovin' on Me is because the guy that sings Lovin' on Me is from Kentucky, where Nate Maness was. So some people don't put the stuff together, but I do little things like that to see if people do put it together. And then so come April, we'll see what we got. And I just love good walkout music. It gets me excited. I know if you get the fans behind your walkout music, it can change their perspective on who they pick. And I'm just excited to walk out in front of that many fans again. It's a different feeling. I can't explain it to anybody. There's thousands and thousands of people out there, and I don't make eye contact. I can't see nobody. It's just, it's the crazy, the tunnel vision that you have. You can hear certain stuff, but it's like in Canada, they were chanting "Flick sucks dick." I didn't know that until after the fight, but after I did win the fight, I knew I hit them with that Ric Flair woo. That was because they kept hitting me with it, and then when Malcolm got choked out, hit him back with that Ric Flair. So I'm just excited, man. I love fans. That's the whole point of the UFC. And the whole point I wanted to be there is the fans excite me. I've been wrestling since I was 3 years old. I build off the crowd. I build off the fan base. That excites me. Even when I'm tired and you hear them fans, it can just change the whole perspective on everything.
Yeah, man, I'm sure it's going to be absolutely bonkers to be able to, get back in there, let alone just get back in there and get acclimated and, finally, just get the feel of, fighting again. But having the fans is just another added element that's just going to make it that much more amazing. Switching gears a little bit, the 125-pound division is still kind of up in the air. Yes, Pantoja is kind of running things right now, but we don't have a clear cut contender. Brandon Royval, he's out of his fight against Manel Kape. Now Manel Kape's going against Amabayev, which is supposed to be for the number one contender, but it's still kind of fluctuating. Where there's talks about Pantoja possibly fighting Kai Kara France in Miami, but Pantoja says that's not happening. So there's a lot of moving parts, right? So where do you kind of see the flyweight division kind of going right now? Do you believe Kopp and Amabayev should be next up, whoever wins there for the number one contender, or how do you kind of see it kind of playing out, at least this year?
To be honest, Mikel Cobb has had the hardest run in the UFC. He jumped right in the UFC. He's fighting top five guys. The guy that just fought Pantoja, I can't remember his name. He just came in, got a title shot right off the bat, and then now he's not even ranked. Like, that's how open the flyweight division really is. That we had to bring in a guy and hope that maybe he could change this division up for us, like Henry Cejudo did.
Right.
And it's not happening. But I do think Kai Kara France is the guy that could possibly do it. We haven't got to see him against Pantoja yet, unless they have fought. I don't know, but I
It was
just
just it was just on the Ultimate Fighter they actually
okay.
fought.
Yes, the Ultimate Fighter, and that's what, like almost 8 years ago.
Mhm.
And Kai Kara France is, you can see his stand up, his power, what he did to Ursek, and he did it with that check left hook, and it was beautiful. It's set up. Ursek has made huge waves since he came to the UFC as well. He's about to fight Brandon. depending on how him and his fight with Brandon goes, they could jump right up there too. Like Manel Cobb, the only thing I'm worried about this fight for Manel is that if Manel wins, it might be boring because Manel's going to have to fight off the wrestling. And we know Homeboy's coming in to wrestle stylistically. Like if he would have got the Ursek matchup, I think that would have been bigger. I think if he would have got Ursek on the main event, that would have been better for Manel. But him getting, I just call him ASU. I can't pronounce these names, but I watched him cut weight his last fight. He's a big 125er too. Like he's not tall, but and then we seen what he did to Jose Johnson. He uses his wrestling very well. He knows how to get in close, not to take damage, and I honestly think it's going to be a boring main event if Cobb can't sleep him. If Cobb don't knock him out, we might see 5 rounds of just grinding by ASU. He might pick up the win, but if he picks up the win that way, I don't think he'll pick up the title shot. So it kind of depends. I think if Manel goes in there and knocks him out, starches him in round 1, round 2, kind of like he did Silva, started off a little slow, found his striking, and then just pieced him apart. I think if he can do that, he can call for the title shot. But if it's a boring 5-round fight and he loses a decision or wins a close decision, I think the winner of Moreno and Ursek could take it, or they're going to have to give it to Kai Kara France.
Yeah, like you said, super up in the air. We really don't know which way they're really going to go. Kind of, like I said, it depends on how those two fights play out. If it's entertaining, if someone gets a finish, the UFC is about entertaining. And if you're not entertaining, they kind of don't want to push you because at the end of the day, no one's going to really want to watch you fight. But Pantoja is actually talking about wanting to fight Marab, and move up and try to get the double champ status. What's your thoughts on that? And do you think that's something that maybe the UFC should kind of consider? Considering Marab pretty much took out the majority of the bantamweight division, and I know Pantoja still has some fighters on the come up that he should take out first. But I want to know your thoughts on that.
Well, my only thought about it is if you move up to 135, let's say you move up to 135 and you lose, all right? Then you lose, and then you come back to 125. It affects everything that you built. I think for Pantoja, if he loses. Now, if he wins, great. That's awesome, But let's go back like 15 years ago when you have one of the best in the world, Anderson the Spider Silva, had the title, 11 title defenses. He moved up to 205, and what did they do? They made him fight other people first. And he still never made his way to the title fight. Like he knocked out Irving, and then he knocked out somebody else. I can't remember at 205, but he had 2 wins at 205 while still being the 185-pound champ. I think that's what Pantoja should do. Go and earn that status first. Why, when you actually do fight at 35 against Marab, you have experience fighting other 35ers. Like, let's say, who would be a good one? Like Umar, like, for example, because Umar has the style to stop the wrestling and do the stand-up. And that's why Marab had to mix it up. If Pantoja went up and fought Umar and beat Umar, not only would it solidify that he can hang with the 125ers, it would prepare him more better for Marab, in my eyes. So I don't understand why all these guys become champs and then get the title shot. When y'all did Anderson like that, when out of everybody, why didn't Anderson get a 205 title shot? And I don't know. I just think it could ruin our division if he loses. And if he wins, it's good. But then now are you going to try to fight at both weight classes? And then you look at Wei Lee. Wei Lee's like, I want to go up to 25 and fight Valentino. That makes great sense. But now the UFC's like, well, if you do, you have to give up your 115-pound title because we want other champs. We want to do something else with that division because you're just over here killing it. And so I think they should let her do both or even bump her up to 25, give her a fight against somebody like Aaron Blanchfield in a 5-round fight. Give her Aaron Blanchfield in a 5-round fight. Give her Rosna Nunez at 125. I know they fought at 15, but fight at 25 first and get a win at 25, kind of like Anderson did, and earn that where you feel more comfortable. I think they should do more of that before just giving title shots now because it's changing up everything. Now, that's what everybody wants to do. This Oliveira guy that just beat one of Khabib's guys. He's like, I want to be a 3 divisional champ. Well, everybody wants to be a 3 divisional champ, but let's be a champ first, And then I think fighters, if you fight at 135 and you're the champ, fight 1 or 2 fights at 145 against top contenders, before you can really actually move up and get a title shot. I mean, look at Aljo. What did he do? He actually moved up to 35. Did he lose the title? Yes. Did he move up to 45 and start fighting top contenders right off the bat? He did. And he beat one, and then he lost the last one. That was a really close fight, honestly, against the Russian. And I think more fighters should do that before getting the opportunity. And then I think they'd have a better chance at higher weight classes than winning the belt. Not everybody's Connor can win the belt, vacate it, move to 55, win the belt, vacate it, and then do whatever the hell you want. There's only very few people like that, and I think Connor's the only one. But we also seen what happened with Connor when he did that. Like Ilya now, and we don't know what happened with Ilya. Why win the title, defend it one time, and then move up to 55? If you're moving up to 55, then they should do a big super fight with him first. Like, give him, like DDP or Dustin Poirier said, give me Dustin Poirier. Like, y'all fighting a 5-round. I mean, crap, they could do it for an interim title if they wanted to, before he actually gets the title fight. It's just too much now. Everybody wants it to be a 2-divisional, 3-divisional champ. I mean, break the record, defend that thing 12, 13 times, and then, just vacate it and move up if that's what you want to do. At least Aljo told everybody what he was doing. He's like, look, I'm fighting at 35. Now I can't make 35. Yes, I lost. If I would have won, we would have went from there. I lost to O'Malley. I used that as an opportunity to bump up to 45. Now I'm chasing the 45 title. So I think more people should do that before we just keep jumping to title fights after title fight after title fight.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because the UFC they're like I said, into the entertainment business, and it's always enticing for a casual fan, right, to see, oh shit, like a champion's trying to move up and become a 2 division champion. It's hasn't been done a lot, and it hasn't been done in a while. So I can kind of see from a business standpoint, all right, just give him the title shot. It's a good story. He's trying to be a double champ and this and that. But then on the flip side, I mean, the chances of it actually panning out is very low percentage, and it's very hard to see, especially going from 125 to 135, and that 135 champ is Marab. That's a very tough pill to swallow when you're Pantoja going against someone like that. But it's going to be interesting to see where both champions go and who's the next contender, because right now it's kind of in an influx. Both divisions are technically in an influx, and a lot of things could really happen. When it comes to the 125-pound division in its entirety, I wanted to get your take on who is your 125-pound GOAT?
The 125-pound GOAT, obviously, to me, is Demetrius Johnson. I know he's retired. He's not fighting no more. You can't take Pantoja out of that status as well. I mean, from all the way back from RFA, I've been watching him. And then when RFA and LFC, Legacy Fighting Championship, merged, they became LFA, Legacy Fighting Alliance. They had him fight Damasio Page. And that was the first legit fight that I watched live. And then I seen him beat Damasio Page. And I became a big fan of Pantoja. And ever since, the Ultimate Fighter and everything, he's just been tearing the division up. And I mean, who was the last one Pantoja lost to? Do you even remember?
Damn, that's a good question. It was
Yeah.
a while ago. I don't know if it was Moreno like a while ago, but then he beat Moreno again, I think, after
Yeah.
that or something like that. I don't
So,
remember.
yeah, I
I'm
couldn't
probably
really give.
wrong. I don't
I
remember.
thought he was 3-0 versus Moreno.
Yeah,
So
you're right. So it's definitely somebody else.
yeah, so then it's crazy to think about that. And then you go back and even look at Marab. And the last time Marab lost was to Ricky Simon when he beat the hell out of him and then slammed himself on his head and got put to sleep in a guillotine. And the bell sounded and he was out cold still and then still trying to move, but he was out. It was a great call. He did not win that fight. I know he didn't like that. But you look at Jared Brooks too. Like, let's get that guy back in the UFC. I
Yeah.
want to fight Jared Brooks, dude. Like, I don't know. He's got something against me. Tries to tell me I don't belong in the UFC. Blah blah blah. Like, no offense to you, dude. I think, you shouldn't have been kicked out of the UFC, but you got kicked out of the UFC at a time that they thought the flyweight division was not going to be around. He did the same thing and knocked himself out against Jose Torres. That's not in the UFC either. And he just finally made his way back down to the flyweight division over in Dream, and he had problems making weight and had a tough run in the UFC, but I was surprised when he got cut too. Like, I've been following these guys forever and been watching Sean Shantella. I don't know how he never made it back to the UFC after he was signed. He was cut. Like, that's what people don't understand. There's a lot of politics in this game too, and it's the entertainment business. Your manager can screw you. What you do outside of life can screw you. Your social media can screw you. Like, on all aspects, you need to look at this as it's a job, it's an entertainment business, and we want the fans to be involved. And that's what I love about the sport. There's multiple ways that we got to promote ourselves. And that's why I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 17 years old. I never found anything that I just really wanted to do, like fighting. So to make money, I do everything. You see me doing card shows now. I'm always selling my merchandise. I would have 72 sponsors if I could fit them all on my shirts, dude. So, I do this because this is a business that I'm in, and I know what I got to do to make it. And it's the entertainment business, and I'm here to entertain people. I have 17 wins and 8 losses. 2 of my wins are by decision, and only 3 of my losses are by decision. It's killed or be killed when I go out there. I do not like going to decisions, and I think that's what the fans like. I'm either strangling somebody or I'm getting knocked out. Like, nobody's ever going to strangle me. I'm sorry to tell y'all. There ain't no guy in the flyweight division that can submit me. I've never been submitted. I won't be submitted in the UFC after I take care of Matt. If they want to give me the best jiu-jitsu guy in the flyweight division, what's his name? The one Makayev submitted. The dude tried to pop his knee, couldn't pop Makayev's knee. Filio,
Oh yeah, Andre
yeah, you know what
Kilios.
I'm talking about. He's had my name in his mouth a few times. Like, even Amir Abazi, dude. He's like, I submitted this black belt. They ain't legit black belts, dude. Like, do they have over 10 submission wins? Like, I'm gonna go down in history with the most head and arm submissions in history, and I can promise you that. And I plan on having the most submissions in the flyweight division. I'm only at 2 right now, but I feel like I got a solid 4 or 5 more years in this, and every person I get, eventually I think I will get a knockout. But if the knockout don't come, that's okay with me. Like, I tell these kids growing up, as a kid, like, I used to get held down by my brothers and sisters, and they make you say uncle. Like, I hated saying it, it's like making you quit. That's why I like tapping people out and choking them out. It's basically saying uncle. They give up. And that's what I want to do. I want to keep choking them out. And if everything goes good against Matt, and Matt does hang up the gloves, there's another guy out there, and we'll wait until after the fight to make sure I take care of business. But there's another guy I'd like to send out on retirement as well. There's a few in the flyweight division, and I think this one right here is going to open up a lot of opportunities for me.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm excited just, talking about it. And, April 26th is going to be absolutely bonkers. Kansas City, Missouri. It's going to be in front of thousands of fans. And looking forward to it. Looking forward to your return and just the fight itself. It's gonna be great. And yeah, man, I appreciate you joining me here today. And before I let you go, I want to know if you have a message out there for all your fans and everybody else that kind of supports you that are eagerly awaiting your return to the octagon.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you always bringing me on here, breaking the news right here with my guy. I just want to thank all the fans, sponsors, family, friends, training partners, coaches, manager, everybody that supports me. It's really hard to do this for a living. I do side work on the side, but my sponsors, everybody that buys merchandise, shows up to my card shows, buys my UFC card, it really helps me do this for a living. And if you haven't, follow my Instagram, The Brick MMA. You can follow me on Twitter at Jimmy Flick. And then I have 2 pages on Facebook, my fan page, Jimmy the Brick Flick, and then my personal page, Jimmy Flick. Sometimes I can't okay everybody on there, so I try to send everybody over to my fan page, Jimmy the Brick Flick. And then, as always, I give a shout out to all my sponsors for the support: Harvest Health Dispensary, Tulsa Sport Acupuncture, Minuteman Plumbing of Tulsa, International Crematory Service, Industrial Motor Services, Broadway Barbershop, The Parlor Hair and Ink, Inkwell Printing, HKA USA, Forza Combat Sports and Broken Arrow, my lawyer, Palmer Law, GG2 Sports and Card Show, Vista Pools and Outdoor Living in Kiefer, Oklahoma, Sacred Ground Properties, and my new jiu-jitsu gym, what's he calling it? Gremlin Jiu-Jitsu. My guy Mike is stocking with Gremlin Jiu-Jitsu, and State Farm Insurance with Tom Wood. And then my guy Rich Fairbanks from MAJ Mafia. This guy takes great care of me. I know he's going to be there April 26th. Oh, yeah, and I have a new sponsor. Shout out to, is it Sheila? Is that right? I think Sheila and BJ from NWA Interior and Gutter in Arkansas. They jumped on board over the weekend, met them at a card show. I met them over a year ago. They've been following me. They go to all the UFC fights. When I told them I was fighting April 26th over in Kansas City, Missouri, they said, that's awesome. We already have our hotel booked. So they already knew there was an event going on there. And then they jumped on board to sponsor me. They've been showing up, buying my merchandise, just being big supporters. And then they went to the next level, jumped on board, and another sponsor. That's what I tell you. If it wasn't for these sponsors, like I said, I wouldn't be able to make it. And if they allowed me to have 100 sponsors, I would have 100 sponsors. I'd have a piece of paper here with all of them, giving them shout outs, giving them love. I really appreciate everybody. And April 26th, if you can't make it to the event, tune in on ESPN Plus, sometimes on UFC Fight Pass. You won't be disappointed. And I plan on putting my name in the history books once again versus Matt Schnell.
All right, man. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll speak soon. And good luck out there.
Appreciate you, big dog.